Okay, welcome to my second live. Basically, this is going to be a tarot reading for Taurus for Jupiter retrograde. And so, Jupiter retrograde basically, just give you a little description about this Taurus. When Jupiter retrograde comes in, basically what it does is Jupiter itself is the planet of expansion, abundance. It's Sagittarius is ruler, and when it comes in, goes retrograde, it gives you the opposite. So uh, it can slow down manifestations for certain people, but it can have more of more of an effect on your dreams and things that are more internal or closer to you. So So, in normal conditions, Jupiter is the provider of wisdom, intelligence, and happiness. A retrograde Jupiter is equivalent to training mystical power and strength. People with retrograde Jupiter in their Kundalini are able to perform all the tasks that normal people cannot even think of during their life. Such people achieve fame and respect while doing unusual tasks. So, your Kundalini, to give a brief description about that, is basically it's a representation of a coiled snake at the base of your spine. And when you have a Kundalini awakening, what happens is it's like a spiritual awakening. And so this energy from the base of your spine shoots up and goes up through your prana tube, which is like right around, basically up through your spine. And it clears all the blockages. And you can have what is called Kundalini flu when that happens. And uh, when that happens, you can, anything that's been lodged or stuck energetically within your system, you can come down with the flu or a lot. For me, when I had mine, it was like the middle of the summer, and I had this just flu that was like out of nowhere. And for 3 days, I was sick as a dog. But when it clears everything, you have this huge awakening. And so it's, unless you've ever had one, you probably wouldn't even understand what I'm talking about. It's one of those you had to be there situations. So I'm still waiting for the room to be populated, but like I said, this is my second live. So uh, if you don't get to see it live, then you at least be able to get to watch it again later. For my subscribers and for other people that see it. So all right. So what does Taurus? What does Taurus need to know? What are the messages for Taurus Collective during Jupiter retrograde? Harmony. So it could be saying at this time that one second. With the harmony card, this is basically talking about a balance of like a spiritual balance between your masculine self and your feminine self, or your higher self and your lower self. Usually that's what it means when it comes to the harmony card. But it can also mean harmony in your relationships, or it could be telling you that it's time to find harmony in your relationships. But first Taurus, the message is that you need to find that within yourself. If you're having any type of controversy or anything like that in your relationships, remember all relationships are mirrors. So think about that, and hopefully that will at least give you some type of information, and I'll give you a little bit more information on it. All right, so this card signifies the possibility that a deep spiritual initiation, partnership, or union is taking place at this time, or is manifesting for the future. This doesn't always necessarily represent a love affair of the heart, but could signify other forms of relationships in your life, whether they're personal or business related. Remember, not all partnerships have to be one-on-one. They can be forged with a group, an organization, a pet, or even an incident or situation. The Harmony card is calling to let you know that it's time for you to make choices in certain relationships. The bonds you form with others are really about you. Even in the most difficult situations, they're meant to be mirrors for you, always reflecting back what you need to see. Ask yourself, what am I learning from this relationship? What new qualities am I developing? Is this partnership for my highest good? How can I make it stronger? Are we teaching each other? What have I discovered, or am I still uncovering about myself and this union? Are people in my life empowering and encouraging me to be all that I can be? Within every relationship, there's an encoded lesson that you hopefully have gleaned in. In some cases, one that you still need to learn. And the traditional archetype for the traditional tarot is lovers. So this can be a choice. So basically, choices in love, choices in relationships, business partnerships, etc. You know, whatever it is that resonates in your situation. Like I said, this is not going to resonate with everyone. This reading is for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, which Venus is your ruler Taurus. So it either does or it doesn't. But understand that when you're reading for a collective, anybody can tune into this live and get a message, because it's a frequency. It's like a radio station. It's just like if you're messing with your radio and you just happen to tune in and your favorite song is on there. That's because you were a match for the frequency of that station at that point in time. That's why you were able to connect with it. So think of your emotions as magnetics and your thoughts as electric. So whatever you're thinking, whatever you're manifesting, your emotions are magnetically bringing it back to you. So if you're in a lower vibrational state in regards to your emotions, such as anger, fear, whatever, that's what you're going to attract to you. Welcome to the live. Just let me know if I'm doing this. This reading is for basically Taurus for Jupiter retrograde. Oh, you again? Okay. Welcome back. All right, so what I was saying about this card, you can skip back if you want to, but the Harmony card basically is the Lover's card in traditional tarot. And so what it basically represents is a choice in love, or a choice in like partnerships or relationships, or just a choice between two things. So a lot of times the best choices are made when we are in harmony with ourselves. And so as you can see depicted on this card. And so the number is 6, which is 6 is the number of man. It's the number of number of man. What else is it? Hold on, let me tell you more about 6. It's hard to keep all those, memorize all those thoughts. Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate it. So 6 is also is known as the mother number. People with this phone number are kind of generous, and then it's their job to take care of people who look to them for guidance and direction in their lives. So maybe that number's for me and whoever else is tuning in, because I definitely do that. So that's numerology meaning and the angel number. So that's some of the symbolism. It's actually a female number. It's associated with the sun Virgo, which I actually have Virgo in my chart. I don't know if you do or not. It's also associated with Venus, which would make sense because it is a Taurus reading, and Venus is the ruler of Taurus. It's amazing. You can look up your phone number, like when it comes to numerology. I did that before a couple times. It's actually even my apartment number and different addresses where I lived, and they really make a lot of sense. Like it will tell you things about yourself and why you're in this location, or why you have this telephone number. And a lot of times, like if you're trying to manifest things in business, it's a good idea to change your telephone number to one that is more of a match to attract more clients in, because everything, like I said before, is a frequency. All right, so let me pull another card for Taurus. So what else does Taurus need to know in regards to this Jupiter retrograde? What else does Taurus need to know in regards to this Jupiter retrograde? What else does Taurus need to know in regards to this Jupiter retrograde? Spiritual union. There's another card of, it's kind of wild, another card with like a partnership. So some of you Tauruses, and I know the person in here that's watching right now is not a Taurus, but if you know some Tauruses, you might want to relay this message to them, or you might actually, if you know them personally, you might have seen this going on. But it just seems like it's a lot about union and relationships, because the first card was basically harmony, which is Lover's card, and then spiritual union, which is basically meeting of the minds or the soul, basically bringing heaven to earth or spirit to the physical body. More of that, pulling more of that in. So it could be a very spiritual time for you, Taurus, during this Jupiter retrograde. I'll give you some more information about it too. 1 second. This card deals with relationships involving an emotional bond. It could be between new lovers, kindred souls, family members, friends, business associates, or partners. It could even relate to a project or a specific situation. This would be the perfect time to realize that all relationships are really about you. Notice when you interact with different people in your life, are they giving you energy or taking it away? Is there an even exchange? There should be an equal balance between giving and receiving energy. Relationships are mirror images of your own life. They reflect how you feel and treat yourself, and how you react and respond to various situations and individuals around you. Each and every union is an opportunity for soul growth. Yeah, unfortunately, that can be very difficult at times too, Taurus, because sometimes we just want something that works. Me personally, I just want, I would like to have a mate that works and that is not trifling, or some of the ones I've had. I'm telling you, it's crazy, but there's a reason why I attract those. And for me, the spiritual contract or the soul contract in this lifetime was unrequited love. So it was more about teaching me, attracting unavailable lovers or people that didn't really care for me, or basically that were takers, basically showing me, what my worth was. And eventually, I learned my worth through that. But it can be difficult because, people will like you for your looks, or they'll like you for your money, or they will like just whatever it is that you have. You could have one specific thing, and if you lose it, or if you don't have it anymore, or just say that you're a very strong individual, and that's what they're attracted to. Well, if you have a moment of weakness, then they're gone. It's just so many different things that could happen. And so if you do have good relationships in your life, you need to cherish them, and otherwise you'll be like me and be a hermit. Then because you'll have all these people that you accepted into your life, and that weren't really for you. It was just more of a codependence thing. But it's the thing about a spiritual, when it comes to like a spiritual awakening or a spiritual path, it can be a lonely path simply because you basically stop taking any shit. You know what I mean? And like when you do that, then people don't know how to act. They like with the Gemini. Geminis were, depending if you're more of the evolved Gemini or whatever, you can people will see you one way or the other because it's a dualistic sign. Welcome to the chat, everyone. Let me know if you have any personal questions. This again, for the other person that's in there, this is basically a reading for Taurus for Jupiter retrograde. But if you have because you're tuned in, it might resonate with you just because it's a frequency. So. But yeah, when it comes to duality and having multiple sides of two different people, people will like one thing about you, but then when you lose it, or you gain another one, or you evolve, they don't like you anymore. So then you have to, and if you evolve too quick, which in my case is what happened with me, you evolve past people, and so people think they look at you, or they think that you think that you're better, or it's so many different ways it can manifest and has nothing to do with it, especially if you're a type of person that can intimidate other people. Or for example, if you start out, say that you grew up with a group of friends, and you've always been the one that that wasn't, they didn't really look at you like you were much, but then all of a sudden you evolved and you changed up on them. A lot of those people can think that you've changed and you're not the same person. In regards, you just more of what you originally were afraid to show, or what you were, and they just never seen it. They've seen you one way, and because they see you one way, then they can't accept who you are now. So for the ones that tune in, again, this is a reading for Taurus. I'm still working out the details in regards to like when you do live and how you set the title and all that. So it's only the second live that I've had. So I'm gonna do one more card for Taurus, and then I'm gonna go to Gemini. Okay, Taurus. What does Taurus need to know during the Jupiter retrograde? What does Taurus need to know during the Jupiter retrograde? What does Taurus need to know during Jupiter retrograde? All right, so basically I got two cards: trapped in fear. So for anyone, for anyone's tuning in, if you're feeling this, Just know that trapped in fear, when that card comes out, it's basically just telling you that you need to work on your root chakra. Because I got this for like a short video I did for Taurus last week, where it was talking about fear. And if you're trapped in fear, you're basically, it will block all your dreams. It'll block everything about you, because fear is just something usually that's manifested in your mind. It's something that's been, you've either learned or you've overthought, overthinking the situation too much, or you're just scared to apply yourself or whatever. But if you, during this time, if you are the type of person that, say, for example, Jupiter retrograde for Taurus, it was all about relationships and working on their self and choices being made. If you are trapped in fear to the point that you don't want to go any further, then it's not going to go any further, because you're basically you're the commander of your ship, and so you need to evolve and move past that. And so one way to do that is to work on the root chakra, which is basically, you can get on YouTube and you can listen to crystal bowl music for each chakra. If you're not familiar with the chakras, just look them up. They're real. They basically are. They're basically your endocrine glands. So your root chakra deals with like your reproductive organs, your ovaries, your testicles, things like that. So when you look at your chakra and your root together, that has to do with your kidneys. It has to do with everything that has to do with reproduction. And so, like the sacral chakra, for example, is a sex chakra. So when those two work together, the root is your security. It's your foundation. That's what, when that is balanced, that's what brings money in. That's what makes you feel like that you're grounded to the earth. But if you're walking around like I've had some clients before that that when they are out of balance, like I'll send them like a chakra test that you can look up on Google and you can do, and it's a bunch of questions. And so basically you answer them and it'll tell you where you're at in regards to your chakras and how they need to be balanced. And I knew people my entire life, and some of the test results was crazy when it comes to the root chakra, because it would be like negative 80%. And I'm thinking, how are you even surviving? Like, because whenever I feel just a little bit of anxiety or fear, that's the first thing I go to, is to balance that chakra, because when you do, it'll just wipe it clean. It's like it's like I've said before with the radio signal or the radio frequency. It's like that chakra, and everything in your body has a certain frequency, and it is supposed to be at that certain frequency. And if you listen to these frequencies, you're basically bouncing it back into that, how it's supposed to be. And then when it's like that, then you're in harmony. So lost somebody, so somebody wasn't interested in that, or they had to go or something. So Mike, are you still here? Is it somebody else? Whoever I got on live, if you want a personal question answered, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna go on to Gemini. May not be showing up. Oh, okay. My message thing wouldn't set up, so if you got a personal question that you want, just let me know, and I'll do it before I go to the next reading. Just type it in the chat. All right, so if you don't have a question, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next reading. I might go ahead and just do Gemini with this live is on. All right, so this is going to be for Gemini for Jupiter retrograde. So I explained in the beginning of the video, or the live rather, what basically what Jupiter retrograde is going to represent. So this reading is going to be for Gemini for Jupiter retrograde. So what does Gemini need to know at this time? What does Gemini need to know at this time for Jupiter retrograde? What are the messages for Gemini? What does Gemini need to know for Jupiter retrograde? What does Gemini need to know for Jupiter retrograde? Can y'all hear me okay? Whoever's in here? Just give me a thumbs up or something. Financial and material changes for Gemini. So 5. So 5 is the number of change, creativity. When it comes to the fifth house in astrology, it basically deals with your kids. And okay, you're still here, good. I think I lost the other person when I was talking about the chakras. They probably didn't resonate. So I know it depends on this live. In order to get your live, where people see you a lot, of course you need to advertise. But the other thing is that you have to have a whole lot of subscribers. So I'm like at 253, I think. And if if you ever decide to do a YouTube channel yourself, a good way of doing it is definitely do shorts, because that seems to be the upcoming thing where people just they have the TikTok mindset where they only want to see something for like a minute to 3 minutes. So okay, hold on. Let me get my headphones. All right. Let's see if this is better. All right, so is that better? Sound all right? Okay. Now, I was probably turning away from the thing, but this headset's got a mic on it, so it's better. All right, so with financial material changes, like I was saying, I gotta set this camera back, bro. I had it perfect a while ago. I swear. All right, it might be better. All right, so financial and material changes for Gemini. So basically, what that's going to represent is, 5 is the number of change. So like if you see 555 on a clock, a lot of times that means either something needs to change or changes are coming. More often than not, it's a universal message telling you that the universe is like tired of, it's tired of you not taking action, and it's basically asking you to change or change something. But as I was saying before, in astrology, it's the fifth house. It's the fifth house of creative endeavors. It's the house of your children, and whatever sign, whatever planet that you have in there will depict the energy or the karmic lessons or whatever it is that it is governed by at that time. So it also deals with like 5, the number 5 or the fifth house deals with like one night stands, or it can deal with like the fifth month, so May. So it could be that. So it could be expecting changes in May for Geminis, because some Geminis are born depending on which astrology you're looking at. If you're looking at more different ones will depict different things. Like there's one astrology thing that basically talks of 13 different signs. So if you're dealing with that, five could represent May, which would be Geminis are usually born around. Let's see, the Gemini energy usually starts when the sun goes into Gemini, which is usually about the 23rd, 24th, 25th, depending on where you are in the world. But as far as like Western astrology, it basically shows that it starts around the 20th, 21st. So those are like what you would call Tarmanize, and they have the energy of the bull and of the twins. So to me, there's nothing worse than having a Taurus and Gemini together, just because one's stubborn. So if you've got most of the Tarmanize that I've seen are the ones that are the Geminis that will fight you without a question. Like they're stubborn, they're bullheaded, they have the Aryan energy as well from the Taurus energy. So it can go. It can go a lot of different ways. You don't know what to expect with them. But anyway, moving on. So it could be saying that you could be expecting, during May or during this time, you could have manifested something basically around the time of May, which would be the 5th month, and then now with the Jupiter retrograde, it's basically bringing that in for you. So, what else does Taurus need to know in regards to Jupiter retrograde? What else does Taurus need to know in regards to Jupiter retrograde? What else does Taurus need to know in regards to Jupiter retrograde? New beginnings. So, did I say Taurus or Gemini? I'm on Gemini. That's what I mean. What does Gemini need to know? So, my bad. New beginnings. So, with the material changes, I really need to get this camera worked out. Basically, see if that works. All right, so new beginnings and financial material changes. So it's basically saying that you can expect it. So it's basically double confirmation, because it's saying that, you have, it could be saying new beginnings basically is going to lead to the financial material changes, or the financial material changes are bringing in new beginnings for you. So take it how it resonates. And let me give you a little bit more information on the card. Each and every journey begins with an all-important first step. When this card presents itself in a reading, it's confirming that it's time for you to take a brave leap of faith. So basically change, like I was saying, but be prepared as you do so. This card represents that a great new adventure is awaiting you. It usually shows up when there's a significant interchange happening within you. By selecting this card, it is a sign that those important choices are needed and are about to be made, and should be carefully pondered as you proceed with wisdom, thought, and care. So basically, I mean, this really could be for me, because my sun is in Gemini. I mean, it's for all Geminis, but it resonates with me because this is a new and important venture. You know what I'm saying? Because it's I had to take a brave leap and a step, to do these lives, and so it's going pretty good so far. I just need more people tuned in. So life is constantly trying to nudge and move you forward at times. It can be daunting when you're faced with a new adventure or direction. Therefore, it calls for inner belief and courage as you take the leap of faith and step into the unknown. During this time, don't be alarmed if you feel lost or even confused. Most people are afraid of change and play it safe by staying where they are. Know that through inner guidance, wisdom and a belief in yourself, and by tapping into these tools, you'll be prepared forward on a positive, life-changing path. Don't conform to what society or other individuals expect of you at this time. It's your own adventure. During this time, be like an innocent child with fresh eyes, and give yourself permission to live, play, love, and above all, laugh. So the traditional archetype is Fool. So the Fool card. So it can deal with Aries type energy. Fool usually is represented by Aries, but of course we are doing Gemini. So it could be some Geminis that have like a Aries moon or Aries rising. Take it how it resonates. It's not going to resonate for everyone. So, and it's true, life does constantly try to move you. And like, Mike, you're a fixed sign, right? So Aquarius, did you say aqua sun? So if being fixed, change can be the scariest thing ever because, it can be very hard. I have a sister that's an Aquarius and she's fixed, and it can be frustrating because, okay, yeah, it can be frustrating with me and her because she is fixed, and then she like throws her hands up and she acts like she don't know what to do. And being a Gemini, which is compatible with Aquarius because it's the air element, we are all about change. We are the agent of change. But to me, it can even be difficult because like for me, everything's always changing. So I'll start one project and then it'll go so far, and then it'll just seem like it'll stop or dry up. So then I got to constantly keep reinventing myself, with the live as one of those things. And it's, once you do it and face the fear and things like that, it's not that big of a deal. But I have, my rising is Leo, so it's a fixed sign. So it's opposite of Aquarius. And so physically, it can be hard, like my body type. That's what your rising sign represents. It's the house of self in astrology. So it can be very difficult for me to, like, I'll say, if I lose weight or whatever, then I'll be stuck there. Or if I gain weight, I'm stuck there for a while. And it can be hard, very hard to change those habits or those routines in regards to that. Especially, it's also when it deals with the house of self. So when you're dealing with your life is constant change. Did it used to be hard? When you think about change, does it frighten you? I mean, you're getting used to it. That's a good thing. But what? How do you? Lonely. Yeah. Yeah, me too. Like I said, it's a frequency, so you're tuned in, pretty much a mirror. Yeah. I don't know. There's times where I wasn't lonely. It didn't bother me at all. Like and I had no problem cutting people off and like just letting it go. But eventually, it does weigh on you because we are a collective energy. We're here to co-create. So we need other people, you know what I'm saying? And that's why that card of suffering and silence came up for you, because, yeah. Well, if you have people that you could speak to, it's a good thing. I mean, being that you're the opposite. Yeah. Do you have issues with pride? Like reaching out, knowing you could reach out, but then pride gets you or keeps you from doing that? Yeah. Okay. That's my issue sometimes is the pride, but not too much. Like, I mean, pride's not a thing. It's not something that really holds me back. Like, I can, me personally, I don't have any problem with being wrong or apologizing. Well, yeah, that's pride. So, yeah. You see how that causes you to suffer, though? Because some people are created just to help. I mean, that's like one of my purpose, just to help people. But you should probably examine that and see, like, where that stems from. Like, I don't know. Last time I asked for help was one reason I cut everybody off because they didn't want to help me after I spent years helping them. So one of those situations where, you find out who your friends are, but you kind of, right, exactly. Yeah, so basically you just like me in a way, you're a giver and then you attract people that are takers in a way. Is that correct? Or is it just because you just don't like asking? Okay. Basically both in a way. Okay. Well, it's available, you just got to ask depending on what you need. All right. right, so what else I need to know for Gemini in regards to Jupiter retrograde? What else does Gemini need to know in regards to Jupiter retrograde? What else does Gemini need to know in regards to Jupiter retrograde? What else does Gemini need to know in regards to Jupiter retrograde? Patience in planning and choose wisely. So let's do that one first. All right, so the card basically says that, it basically is telling you exactly, without going into a whole lot of detail, it's just saying that you need to functional hermit. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I am too. If you being a hermit and not being functional, that would definitely suck if you were. But me, what I do, I basically, I just I can watch TV and things like that, and spend time that way. And social media kind of helps in a way to keep from being that. But I mean, I get involved in, I guess, characters of movies and stories and things like that. So it's kind of like I live through that. But I've just never found, I've never found people that's like me. When it comes to like family and things like that, family is, they're just different. Like I'm the black sheep, and they come from a whole nother atmosphere. And same thing with their friends. I discovered what I found out about my friends. What I discovered was the majority of it was illusion. I was seeing them the way that I wanted to see them, so that can be hard too. And but most hermits, like they've all, people that are hermits, they've usually always had past lives where they were like monks or something, if you believe in that type of thing, and that's why they're able to do it, right? But you need to embrace that black sheep stuff, because there's a reason why you're the black sheep. Most of the time it's you come in, or you incarnate into a body in a family that that you're completely different from, so that you can end karmic cycles. Like for me, it's the last of not the last of my bloodline, but it's the last of my grandfather's line. Because I'm the third in regards to our family line, so I basically end that. Yeah, that's good as long as you find something. Make sure you find some type of outlet, though. I mean, I still miss people. People get on my nerves. I'm kind of stuck with that too. So let's see what else. Patience and planning. Me. Yeah, generational curse is right. My grandfather, he was born in 1897. So he was like 45 years old when my father was born. And so you can imagine what that would be like, So he was born before, vehicles, anything, all the wars. And so he was very hard on my dad. So me growing up, my dad was very, very different. He was not that bad. I mean, I guess it was pretty straight when it comes to childhood, but he was also alcoholic. So he was very hard, all about work. It was bred into him. And if you didn't work like to your fingers to the bone, he had nothing to say for you, And so I've got that energy in me, as far as like when I'm kind of like a workhorse too. But when I was growing up, I wasn't like that. So it changed as I got older. But me and him always got into it. It was a fight every time. So it was just two people that were really, really headstrong going at it, and from different, basically, generations. And being that he was raised by my grandfather for being so, from 1897, you got to think what that would be like. Can you imagine having a father, even if you grew up I don't know when you grew up, but if you grew up if you're born in like 46, like he was, and you're being, raised by a man that was born in 1897, I would say it's pretty difficult, All right, so patience and planning. 85. All right, so good things come to those who wait. This card signifies the qualities of patience and letting go of control. You should now pause, rest, assess, and rethink what's in front of you before continuing. The number 7 physical card reminds you to reevaluate your goals that you're seeking, your finances, and even your relationships. Take the time to review. Oh, okay. Take the time to review each area one by one. But there's no rush when you're planning for a successful future. As you pause during the period, notice what has worked well for you in the past and not what you or others believe to be true, but in actual positive experiences. While you're at this reflecting stage, you can stand back and plan how you're going to handle potentially difficult, complex decisions and situations that may arise in the future. So that's good advice, especially anybody who's trying to manifest. And with the card, with the new beginnings and the financial and material changes card coming up for you, Gemini. This is a good step. So as long as you got a plan, don't call it a dream, call it a plan. So, just plan everything out and then have the patience with that. Meditate, do whatever you need to do. I seen where you said you was born in '62, so I know that had to be interesting growing up like that. I would have liked to grow up, growing up in that time. It just seemed like it was a whole lot freer, but I guess it depends on, how you grew up and who you grew up with. Again, for anybody that's clicking on this reading, I see I got a new person in there. How you doing? This is a reading for Gemini, and I'm about to do Cancer. Coming up next. Okay, so they clicked off. All right, Gemini, basically that's what I have for you in regards to this. So maybe I'll catch you next time on the live. I'm gonna go ahead and end this live. If you want to click back on, Mike, you can. But I'm gonna do Cancer next. I figured I would do like 2 signs. The first one was Aries, and then do these 2 signs, and then the next one I can do 2 more. So Cancer and Leo coming up next. So thanks for watching. I appreciate your support.